And I'll open this meeting at 6:07. Um, Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the Bidjigal people of the Eora Nation, who are the traditional custodians of all lands and water and sky in the Georges River area. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and extend that respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people who live, work, and meet on these lands. I also acknowledge the presence of the Mayor, Councillor Amir, and the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Borg, and also fellow councillors Catherine Lansbury, Councillor Luke and Josky, and Councillor Nancy Lou. Now, we do have some apologies, and I'd like to ask for a leave of absence. We have apologies from Michael Williams, Angie's issues. Are there any other apologies?
He's online.
He's online, sorry. Okay, can I please have a motion to accept the apologies and grant a leave of absence? Moved by Councillor, moved by the Mayor, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Councillors, we have got some requests to join via audio visual link. I've had the complaints in the past that because we don't use our microphones, the people that are on audio visual link can't hear us. So if you're going to address the committee, please use your microphone, because we do have a number of people requesting the audio visual link, and they are Nathan Green, Kevin Green, Irene Hatzipetros, Stephen Matthews, and Craig Young. They're a request, and I'll take it that we endorse that request. The staff and public are reminded that this meeting has been recorded for minute-taking purposes and is also being webcast live on Council's website. In accordance with Section 5 of Council's Code of Meeting Practice, this recording will be made available on Council's website. The order of business is as shown in the agenda, which has been made available. Council's Code of Meeting Practice prohibits the electronic recording of meetings without the express permission of Council. Mobile phones must be turned to silent during the meeting, and we will now go to the confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting held on the 6th of July 2023. Moved by Deputy Mayor Ball, seconded by the Mayor, Councillor O'Neill. Now we've got all those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. Declare it carried. And the first item on the agenda is the Shush for Kids campaign, and I'd like to welcome Ms. Samantha Fezani and Ms. Jess Mora from the New South Wales Office of Sports, who will present the New South Wales Government Shush for Kids campaign. And thank you for joining us today. Thank you.
Just going to test that and check that those online can hear us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks for having us today. Really appreciate being invited along. As some of you may or may not be aware, the New South Wales Government and as the Office of Sport, we run a campaign each year called Shush for Kids, and it's all about promoting positive behaviour at junior sport. We actually launched our campaign this year in this electorate, in this council. Councillor Nick Cutchess was actually there at the announcement, so we really appreciate that down at Balls Park. So Shush for Kids campaign is, I don't know how many of you are aware of it or have actually even participated in it, so apologies if I'm rehashing things you already know. But the Shush for Kids campaign is a collaboration that we do each year with both the government and then what we call our SSOs, which are our state sporting organisations, and then the layer down, which is all our grassroots clubs, organisations such as some of yourselves here. And essentially it aims to highlight the ongoing issue that we generally have around spectator behaviour at sport, which goes all the way from grassroots through to elite. And it's a campaign that where we try and allow people to access free resources to help their clubs promote this idea of positive behaviour. And it started out more so around positive spectator behaviour at participants, so making sure that kids themselves wanted to come back to sport each week. And positive behaviour can be as simple as sometimes it's the really obvious ones when they're shouting and screaming quite abusive language. But sometimes I think that what people don't realise is it's the behaviour of a very good-willing mum or dad, such as myself, who might start to shout advice and things from the sidelines that can really actually confuse kids and make it really hard for them to concentrate and to actually do things. So, you know, in general, the idea of Shush for Kids is if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. We've seen some great activations over the years from lots of clubs. One of our favourites actually this year was a club did a whole thing around a lollipop. They gave out free lollipops to all, and it was all about if you don't have anything nice to say, put something in your mouth and that'll stop talking. And they're just really creative things that we do. What we try and do, and Jess will take you through it. I head up marketing and comms at the Office of Sport, and Jess is in my team, and Jess led this campaign this year. But essentially, we want to try and grow the Shush for Kids campaign. So it's something that we're looking to do across over the years. We've grown it a lot over the last couple of years. This year was probably one of our most successful, and Jess will take you through some of those stats. We're just trying to build the messaging and the campaign awareness, and overall just get more people involved and understanding the premise of positive spectator behaviour. It was launched back in 2014, and it has grown consistently over the years. This year we got to 30 state sporting organisations signing up and 500 clubs and associations signing up, which is a fair amount. We do, however, have, I think, up to 97 SSOs. We do have a way to go in getting more and more people, and I can assure you there's more than 500 clubs and associations across New South Wales. And it's been an evolution of previous campaigns that we've run. So it started with things like play by the rules, keeping them safe, campaign and work that's been done by Sport Integrity Australia, Sport Australia, the Human Rights Commission, and also the Office of the Children's Guardian, which I'm sure a lot of you do actually work with. And so it's kind of just one element of some broader work we're doing around child safety at the Office of Sport. Which has obviously, with new legislation and regulations coming in a couple of years ago, has become a really real priority for Office of Sport and for the sporting organisations. So I'm going to hand over to Jess to take you through more of the campaign side of things, and then we'll sort of end with a bit of what we're looking to do in future and where, some good ideas and things that we can take you through.
Thanks, Sam. Thank you all for having us here today. It's a pleasure to come and present this to you. So we just wanted to take you through probably a good starting point of some of the key messaging that we promote as part of the campaign. So as Sam mentioned before, it's not about telling people that they can't say anything. It's just that they should maybe take a step back and think about what they're saying and potentially make it a little bit more positive. And in conjunction with that, we do run weekly themes throughout the month as well. So the weekly themes, we obviously have some general participation type messaging. We also have some messaging around volunteer appreciation, respecting officials, and also supporting the coaches as well. So you'll see those up on the screen. I won't read through them, but these are some of the general overarching themes that we promote to our clubs and association partners throughout the month.
And probably to add to that, I think where I was going before is we started at just participants, but now we know that one of the hardest bits of these things like volunteers, they're so hard to get into clubs in the first place. And when you've got people yelling at them from the sideline, that's not going to encourage more to come back. Our volunteers are also probably our refs and our coaches. We know at grassroots sport level, it's parents volunteering, often not being paid. Again, it's all about trying to encourage them to come back, not just the participants, but those people that support the sport as well. So that's been another focus this year.
Yes, very much so. So as Sam mentioned before, these are the exact numbers. So we actually had 32 SSO and SSOD partners, and we had 529 club and association partners. So the really positive thing about that this year was that over 20% of those club and association partners were actually new partners to the campaign. So that's a fairly significant chunk of the people that signed up, were new and sort of first timers with us to help promote Shush. So we also had 3 new SSOs as well, so judo, equestrian and rowing. So it's always great to get new sports on board and expand the variety of sports that we have supporting Shush. So you'll see up here what Shush is mainly an awareness campaign. So we are trying to spread the message. And one of the ways we do this is through branded collateral. So our team worked really hard last year to go through a whole refresh of the brand, of the Shush brand. And we worked to recreate some of the imagery and make it a little bit more modern and fun. So you'll see here, we've got a variety of assets that are available to club and association partners. So this is, social media graphics, posters, EDM headers, banners, everything that you could potentially imagine we have provided free of charge to clubs and associations. And what we have also done and tried to do is we've actually tried to create sport-specific graphics as well. So you'll see a couple of them up there with, volleyball and ice skating, hockey, and basketball. And so any of the sports that have signed up to Shush for Kids have their own tile, which is fantastic. And we've received really good feedback on these sort of pieces of collateral that we've got available. One of my big things this year, coming on board with some fresh eyes, was to potentially look at some new collateral and assets that we could produce. So one of the things that I know, I'm from an SSO background, one of the things that I always wanted was signage that I could put around my venues and at events. So I worked really hard with our team to create some of that. We also created some ground announcement scripts, and there was also some new social media templates and pieces of work that we put on our social media pages as well. We also enhanced our partner toolkit, which gave some promotional assistance and information to some of our partners. So they were able to read through that and find out some ideas of how they could potentially practically implement some fun ways to get the Shush messaging across at their venues. So I won't stay too long on each of these next slides, but these are some of the figures that we actually got. So this is a heavily digital campaign. So for us, web traffic is a big thing. And we were very, very pleased with these numbers. To have nearly 7,000 page views is, quite a lot for a campaign like this. And we had over 950 people visit our registration landing pages. So that was also really good to see that there was some significant interest in signing up. And the other thing probably to note was that we had really consistent traffic across our website across the month and in the month leading up to and the month after the campaign. So really positive numbers in terms of web traffic for us.
And I think those monthly themes, that's what made sure that we had consistent people coming back. We changed the theme, we had additional resources, and we directed people back so that for everyone who has resources, you can't keep having the same one up for 4 weeks. So it gave everyone else new things and new messages to talk to as well. And there's also some clubs and some associations that might have a bigger problem with one area than another. So you might want to spend more time on that. So I think it just gives a bit of room to move and flexibility.
Yeah. One of our biggest sort of promotional mechanisms, I guess, is through social media. So we ran some great social media organic content throughout the month. You'll see these are really, really big numbers, to reach over 220,000 people again, organically. This is without any sort of paid boosts at all. And to, have over 13,000 engagements, which is likes, comments, shares. It's just, it goes to show that people are really engaging with the message and are really taking it on board and trying to spread it. Two of the really highlight content pieces we did, which went spectacularly well on our social media, was a little video we put together with Evie, who was a young netball coach and umpire, and she spoke to her experiences around sideline behavior and what it's like as a young official to be on the end of some not nice comments and how that makes her feel. So it was great to hear from a young person in that role. And we also had a fantastic blog post written by a teacher and a PE teacher and also a soccer coach. And he came at the campaign from a really interesting angle, and that went, again, fantastically well. It reached over 100,000 people, and it was a really interesting and different take on the campaign. So we loved sharing that. We also did some paid social as well, because we do want to amplify the message as far as we can. And, we only have so many people on on our channels. So we have done some paid social media stuff. I won't go through all of it, but what you'll probably note is that we don't have a very large budget for this campaign. So the results that we're achieving through this campaign, I think, are very pleasing, considering that, you know, we're not spending thousands upon thousands of dollars to spread the message. So yeah, I wasn't sure if there's anything you want to add there, Sam.
No, I think, as Jess said, it's a CSR campaign essentially. So we rely a lot more on PR, word of mouth. Where we use our paid media, such as this, is actually to try and target areas that our audience might not cover to get more associations signing up. So this year we actually, through Jess, actually focused a little bit of our money spent actually at the front end to get more clubs to sign up and be aware of the campaign in the first place. And I think that's what helped with that increase of 20%, I would say.
Yeah, no, definitely. So we also sent out a lot of EDM newsletters. So this was the primary way that we communicated with our partner SSOs and partner clubs and associations. 61% open rate. That probably doesn't mean a lot to most of you, but on average, about a 20% open rate is considered very good. So that 61% sort of blows the industry average out of the water. Again, click-through rate of 16%. Generally, you know, a solid click-through rate is about 2 to 5%. So we're really engaging with people, and people were clearly wanting to know more about the campaign. And it was really fantastic to see the support that we were getting through our EDMs. And this was the primary channel that we were distributing our collateral and most of our information through. So these are just a few of the examples, and
I think it shows how important the message is that people are opening it. I think also, as many of you would know, budget, like at a grassroots level, club level, you don't really have a marketing budget. It's also done word of mouth and what you can create yourselves. So we found the more we create, which is probably encouraging that open rate, and the more that people can download and use themselves, the message is going to get out there because we're almost doing it for them. All they need to do is share it amongst their networks.
So we were really lucky for this sort of, I guess, year, this campaign year, to have some great earned media. So we got featured on several of the big television stations, also across some of the large radio stations across Sydney, and also in a little bit of print as well. This was off the back of the announcement of the campaign that Minister Camper did here at Olds Park. So we were really pleased that we were able to get that cut through in the wider media as well. As I mentioned, Minister Camper was a really good supporter of the campaign this year. We also had support from athlete representatives from the Sydney Swans, New South Wales Swifts, and Sydney FC. So it was great to see the professional teams getting involved in spreading the message as well. And we also had some support from the New South Wales Institute of Sport, who allowed their athletes to also promote and support the campaign. So it's really good to see other people getting involved and trying to amplify that message as well. So yeah, this is sort of our last slide. These are a few of the highlights. I probably won't go through all of them, but I've sort of touched on them already. We had, you know, a lot of new partners. We, you know, had some really great media and a lot of significant engagement on social media. So yeah, all in all, I think it was very, very successful. And I think that just sort of pushes us to want to do more. And yeah, there's a lot of future opportunities, which I think, Sam?
Yeah. And I assume there's some people in this room, it's about how do you activate it at your own level and with your own clubs. And I think one of the key messages is obviously utilize us as best you can. We create assets. We are also happy to sometimes help with bespoke assets. If you've got something that you need that you know will work with your sport or your club, we can help with things like that. You know, how can we get our messaging out through councils and things as well and get that then disseminated to all the clubs that sign up within that council? Any way that we can get our message out further, we're open to doing that. Ideas for different assets. You know, if there are things that we didn't do this time that you know could work for you guys, it probably means it works for other sports and clubs as well. This year will be the first time we also do a summer sport shooter campaign. So previously it's only happened in May. I think in part just resourcing, in part also because I think there was that sort of assumption that you are talking about sideline sports like soccer, football, rugby league, AFL, where you do there is a perception of not as great spectator behaviour. But I think what we're starting to find is it's kind of in all sports, it's just in different ways. It might not be the yelling abuse, but there's different ways it kind of comes through. So we'll look to do it probably around November, hopefully this year, for summer sports, and give the chance of the crickets, the hockeys, basketball, some of those sports a bit more of an opportunity to talk to their players and clubs. And that also then gives us a bit of an avenue to talk to different athletes and different elite clubs. And then joining more, we actually spoke to, outside of this campaign, because we've got a bit of media behind it, the United Nations, the Human Rights Council for Australia actually contacted us because they're looking at doing a lot more work around this space too, and also combined with all the work the Office of the Children's Guardian are doing and what Office of Sport would like to do under that. So I think there's a lot of opportunities to do different things. All we encourage you to do if you are a club in here is just be creative, think differently. It's a really important message that parents will really get behind for the majority of it. And we might just leave you with a video and also open to questions and things as well. But there's a little video we had, if there's time, if there's not, happy for it to be sent around. But this was actually just a local football club that created their own little video based off Shush for Kids. I don't know if it's loaded already or not. Yeah.
My mum and dad always say that I should think before I speak.
When you don't have something nice to say,
Don't say it at all.
Shush for Kids.
always respect the best decision. Kids sport is supposed to be fun. Volunteers make the world go round.
Our club wants to make sure that everyone's experiences
are positive playing junior footy for the Wolves.
So if you can't say anything positive, then shh.
And that was as a local club who took their own initiative, and I can tell you now it was filmed on an iPhone and they just edited it through. It's amazing what you'll find a parent is capable of in a lot of these things. You've probably got some parent who works for something and can pull it together. And yeah, it's just about spreading that message, really.
Well, thank you, Samantha and Jess. That was very informative, and I must admit I did rather enjoy the little video. Yeah, I appreciate that. Now, I'd like to open it up for questions if people have questions that they would like to pose to you, or comments. I'm happy to take comments too.
I was just going to ask if a club wants to take advantage of the physical assets, like the Instagram thing, or the flags. Like, do they have to purchase them themselves, or do you guys provide them, or what would they do if they wanted to get those assets?
So the flags are more their artwork ready to be produced. So that would be more like we could supply and you might have someone who can do it for you. Things like the selfie frames, we're actually, for the Summer Comp, we produced only like 10, but we're probably going to produce a heap more. So we'd be happy to lend them out to clubs, and, you know, they are a really great interactive way just on the sideline. It just gets people talking, if nothing else, we found.
And there's contact details on the Shush for Kids page as well. So if you want to get in contact, that just goes to me. So I can organise to definitely get some stuff out to people if they're really keen to spread the message. The selfie frame was very popular this year, so I think that's something that we're going to look to do more of and try and get some of those more fun interactive elements involved. So yeah, most of the information, if you are interested in more, just head to the Office of Sport website and there's a whole Shush for Kids page. All the collateral and assets are on there as well.
I just wanted to ask, you did say that if there's You're Not Sports not up there in the marketing stuff, you could get that made for you. Because golf a lot of the times is left out on those kind of things. But we've got more parent talking to other parents, not very nice, which is affecting our kids.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I think we try and keep up as much as we can with all of the partner SSOs that come on board. But if there are things missing, as said, we're really responsive and we're happy to create things as required. So again, yeah, just get in contact with us and we can get those created.
Yeah, like a few of those bespoke sports, I can definitely tell you. I think it was fencing who got in touch with us. I'm like, can you do us a little fence? And we're like, our designer's like, sure. Like once the template's there, it's pretty easy for us to just create one other little one. So absolutely.
Any further questions? Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to. We took part this year for basketball, and I just want to say thank you for the ground announcement thing because I do write all our social media, and for me, sometimes my brain is just tired and it's not used to doing it. So having the ground announcements there, we don't do ground announcements because we don't have a PA system in the stadium. So I just literally edited those down and actually used the wording to make social media posts.
That's what it's all there for. Yeah,
it made it so much easier.
And that's another one. Like we've got a social person. We know the key messages really well. If you need some like basic social copy to just help you push things out, again, just touch base.
Yeah, we found it did help a lot with the parents that were coaching on the sidelines to try and explain to them that's not what you should be doing. Let the coach actually explain the rules.
It's really hard because they have good intentions. I know I've even done it once or twice. I think I'm doing the right thing, but I'm not necessarily.
Just checking with those that are online. Could you hear that? Nod your head.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I just got one question through you.
Thank you. Yeah, please do.
What a great initiative. How do we get in contact with you?
Just on our website. But we can also leave our contact details with Jeremy, and they can pass those on as well. But
okay.
We can just maybe post this. We'll just send an email with our contact details and the website that you can go to. But as Jess said, that's got everything there. So, yeah.
And also, Albert, Peter Clark at New South Wales Rugby League would have the same stuff.
Okay. All right.
Fantastic. Yeah, the email address is just shushakids@sport.nsw.gov.au for anybody that is interested. So, but it's all up there on the website.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Further comments? Further questions? Yes. No.
Have you had individual sports contact you? Like I'm from swimming, but athletics. Have you applied this sort of idea to individual sports?
Yeah, they've still, I think we did some little athletics. We've done some stuff in the past.
Little athletics, fencing. We've got pony club as well. So we do have a number of individual sports. I believe swimming may already be an SSO partner. So
they've been approached already with swimming.
Yeah. So, I mean, the assets still work the same way because I think if you, as a club, have a social channel or you send out newsletters anyway, whether it's an individual sport or not, I think the same message applies. We all know that people can get quite rowdy at swimming.
Has it been the state body that's contacted you or a local club? Do you know?
I want to say swimming SSO.
I think it was a swimming SSO, but in general, it's a mixture of both. There are some SSOs that are really sort of, a champion of the campaign and will push it down through the clubs and associations. But then there are some that just the SSO just hasn't got on board or is not really involved, whereas some of the clubs and associations have really taken it on and have pushed it through their channels and their organisations. So it's really a mixture. But I believe, again, this is probably a little bit before my time. I think this was maybe last year or the year before, but I think it's the SSO that has approached us from swimming.
I think if the organisation pushes it down through their clubs, I think it'll work a lot better rather than the clubs themselves.
Yeah. It depends. We've found it also depends on the SSO and their own communication channels. So some have much stronger ones than others. So, and then that can vary as to how the messaging gets out there. And some SSOs, like I know, rugby leagues, actually, New South Wales Rugby League, I've worked quite closely with Tracy. They've always been big supporters of it because they're on their own Respect campaign as well. So it all sort of ties in. So we also find, depending if an SSO runs their own kind of similar campaigns, they'll sometimes tie that messaging in. We found the same with football.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might take this to a state and area level and see what sort of feedback I get. If they haven't already approached you, that's why I'm asking. So
yeah, no, take it, and if they want some stuff, we're happy to come chat to them or send them stuff. Yeah.
And we'll be releasing some stuff around summer shortly as well. So
That will include swimming, I think.
yeah, you'll probably already be on a mailing list. But yeah, for sure, if you do want to get involved in the summer campaign or any campaigns going forward, just get in contact and we can, get you on board.
And I probably should preface that we, like all these things, we have highlight campaigns in May, November, but it is a message that should be all year round. So, you know, if your sport isn't actively doing things in May, it shouldn't stop you doing it in June, July, August, September, October. Like, it's when your sport is the most active. The assets don't change. They don't say winter. They're not dated. So they can use it any time.
Thank you, Samantha and Jess. Obviously, there's great interest in this, and the director has just informed me that she will share your contact details with all the members of the committee.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and if there's no more questions or comments, I'll ask for a call for a mover and a seconder for the recommendation, which is to receive and note, basically.
So, Mr. Chair.
From the mayor and the seconder.
Second, thanks.
From Mark. I'll put it. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
All those against say no. Declare it carried. Thank you for coming along and spending some time with us. You're welcome to stay if you'd like, but if you've got other things to do, by all means. Thank you. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the premium facilities update. Can the manager of premium facilities, Luke Coleman, please provide an overview of this report? Luke Coleman? Luke Coleman? Confused identity? Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. Thanks. Thank you, Luke.
Through you, Mr. Chair. This is basically an update on our premier facilities and our Tier 1 sporting grounds. The main, I suppose, point that I've brought to the attention of the committee is in regard to Netstrata Jubilee Stadium and the fact that we were the host city training venue for Sydney, and the ground staff and the venue staff did a wonderful job, and it was very well received by FIFA and their complimentary comments I've actually included in this update. And just following on from that, we're back into event mode, which we've already staged several events since the actual training period, and we're in a renovation period at the moment, and the turf surface is really holding up extremely well. So we're very pleased about that. The other venues that are included in the update it's just an update on really what's been going on for this last 6 months, and also in regard to the tennis centres, the asset replacement and upgrading of those with the Ken Rosewell tennis centre. It's the court resurfacing and redoing the fencing, and we've just completed the internal fencing at Parkside Tennis. That's really as written there. That's an overview. And any questions?
Are there any questions, any comments that members of the committee would like to make?
Yeah, can I make a comment, please, Councillor Catras?
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, just to say, I'm sure other people on the committee have had the same feedback, but the number of people that have stopped me and made comment over the quality of the surface at Jubilee, whether they've actually been at games, and I know after the Newcastle match, I had a number of people say to me how outstanding the ground looked from those that were there, and also from those who saw it on television. And I think that speaks enormously for the quality of our staff there, because the feedback, as I say, and I'm just talk to people in the street, and the number of positive comments I've received, I've got no doubt that that'd be a mere fraction the reception that the ground has received over the last few months. So I think it's worth putting that on record.
Thank you, Kevin. I've had the same similar type of feedback from many people, many codes. Yes, is there any discussion? Any further? Are there any questions? As there are none, can someone move the recommendation, which is basically receive and note the report?
I'll move that.
Deputy Mayor Wall and Kate. I'll put that. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried. We're now going to the Capital Works update. Tom Heath, yeah, it's your turn. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom.
Evening, everyone. This is just a quick update of the Capital Works program for 23-24. We go through this most times, so I've tried to make it a little bit more succinct. So it's just one table. So just to quickly go through these, Hurstville Oval Sporting Community Pavilion. We're looking at it's progressing quite well and looking at construction being completed at the end of this calendar year. Olds Park Recreation and Hardscape, so that's the new netball courts and skate park. We're progressing really well on that, looking towards completion at the end of this calendar year. Renown Park Irrigation, Drainage and Field upgrades. So this is for Field 2. So this work, we've engaged the contractor who will commence the design works on that. So that's the design for the drainage, irrigation and the grading of that field. So that work will be done and completed with establishment by March 2024, enabling the opening for next year's winter season. Olds Park Premium Sporting Facility, so that's the large scale design project. So we've engaged the architect for that. They will progress works within this financial year for the construction to progress in next financial year. And that's got a December 2025, November 2025 completion date. It's Todd Park Sporting Precinct, so we're out to engage an architect for that one at the moment. That's design at this stage. That will form part of the Cars Park Todd Park master plan prior to future construction of that. The Garno Passive Watercraft launching, that's a multi-year project where the design is within this year, construction next. So we're looking at the process at the time frame to engage at the moment. Parkside Drive Tennis Court fencing and surfacing, that's been complete. Ken Rosewell Tennis Court fencing and resurfacing, construction of the procurement of that work is being done at the moment, looking to be completed by the end of this calendar year. Fulton Park retaining walls, that's not necessarily a sporting infrastructure project, but it's directly adjacent to the netball courts at Fulton Park. So we're in the process of designing, engaging a designer at the moment for construction this financial year. Fulton Park amenities, so this is public amenities, but it's adjacent to the synthetic fields down at Fulton Park. It's one of our older, more degraded and non-accessible toilets. So we're looking to engage a contractor in the coming month to execute that, and that'll be done within this financial year. Noting on that one, the car park will be closed during daytime periods for that work to occur, but the car park will be reopened to sporting users by 4 p.m. When training and the use of those facilities commences. Bocce Court, so we've completed a spatial framework analysis for Smith Park, which allowed us to understand the master planning of that park and where the Bocce Court facility is in best position for future infrastructure at that site. So that's been completed now, and we're looking to engage a contractor to execute that work in the coming month. Hurstville Oval lighting, tender has closed for that one now. That's going to the October council meeting. So the process of that is looking to enable night football to be played at that facility. So that's a 200 lux thing. Charles Pirie lighting. So this one's one where previously Councillor Paul put the nom up to expand the lighting at Charles Pirie. Based on asset management of that site, we've identified that the existing 4 towers at that site had reached end of life and had to be removed from a safety perspective. So this project has changed from being the upgrading of the scope of lighting at that facility to the upgrading of assets at that site. So we've gone through the process of getting a quantity surveyor to cost that up. We understand what that's going to look like. And we're looking to find some future funding to enable us to progress that one. So that one has a TBA at the moment because it's a little bit delayed from what we expected it to be, but it's now become a more significant project than it was. So we'll have further updates on that as we progress with that one. And the operable fencing at Penshurst Park, that is it's a significant project in terms of design, council approval, and then development applications to get consent to build that. We're looking to engage the design consultant in the coming weeks to execute that, to provide that insight to the community and the councillors in terms of what that will look like and how that will operate. So hence there's no date on the completion of that as well. So that is what my team at the moment is working vigorously, as well as many other things that aren't sporting related, to get that done. So that's just a bit of an update of what we're doing at the moment. I've just got another update of a new project. So that's existing project. So a new project for the 24-25 project that has come on board based on funding being provided is for Renown Park. It's additional work there. So we received $850,000 from the state government to do the Renown Park upgrade works that I've just discussed on the previous slide. At the same time, we received $600,000 from the federal government to do the same thing. So because we already had sufficient funding to do the works, we've gone back to the funding body and they've identified the capacity to do additional work at Renown Park. So we've met with the sporting users of that site, or the major sporting users being soccer and rugby league, to identify and understand. We're doing the same with cricket in the coming weeks to understand the broader use of the site from a sporting facility to meet the requirements of that grant. So we've identified some embellishments associated with that. So we're going to do a renovation on Field 1. That's the soccer field that was previously reconstructed quite a while ago. We're going to supply and install a significantly larger header tank, which will now allow us to irrigate both fields at the same time, which is a significant infrastructure upgrade. We've also been identified some embellishments. So Oatley Football previously identified that they would like to see additional lights put up there. So we've identified that. Bleachers at both the rugby league and the soccer fields, water stations at both amenities. So we've obviously got 2 sporting amenities at that site, so providing water filling stations at both sites. And then improving accessibility, so a set of stairs from Mountbatten rather than it being that soil embankment that's there now. So they've been identified with consultation with the clubs and the use of our strategic placemaking team as works that sort of meet within that grant requirement. And they're what we're proposing to progress with in the 24-25 capital works program. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Tom. Do we have any questions?
I have a question. I noticed that council's major sporting infrastructure project in Carsdyke Pool was not on the list. I'm wondering if you could just give us an update on the status on the plan of management, the status on the business case, and the status on the demolition of the rest of the structure that's there now.
Yep, I can do that. So we're out to quotation at the moment for the execution of the full DA. So that's the demolition, remediation and landscaping for the site. That closes this week. So following that, we'll understand the subsequent costs associated with that, and is that within budget, or we'll have to go back to council and find additional funding for that. So that's the execution of the DA side of things. The business case perspective, we're in the process of procuring a commercial company to complete our final business case for that site. So that'll enable us to progress the work we are doing on an ongoing basis of trying to find additional funding to execute that project. And the third one was plan of management. So the planning and landscape architect firm have been engaged for the plan of management. Internally, we're doing a lot of operational understanding of the site at the moment before it goes out for the visualisation to the community prior to Christmas. So initial community consultation will commence prior to Christmas on that one.
So the tender has been awarded for the plan of management, the contractor has been appointed
Yes,
and are currently working on it.
correct.
But the execution of the demolition hasn't been awarded as yet. You're
No,
still
so
doing
we-
procurement.
Yeah, so we've executed the vegetation removal, which was the first point of that. We went out to quotation. We looked at doing it as a multi-stage project. We thought there was cost savings to council of having individual contractors doing portions of the work. Based on an understanding and communication with contractors and the broader consultation process, we identified that we weren't going to get the savings that we thought was worthwhile. So we've gone out for the full demolition, remediation and landscaping as one package. With there's significant traffic management associated with that site with the closure of the car park. So that became a portion of putting it onto one principal contractor rather than council being responsible for those multi-parts. And that's a better way to ensure community safety as well as the execution of the project in a more efficient way. So that's what we're doing at the moment. So I'd look to have the contractor engaged, ideally be doing reference checks by the end of this month. Having said that, based on the time, I keep talking, sorry, but based on our proximity and how close we're getting towards Christmas and knowing that that's a pretty heavily utilised site during that Christmas period, there's discussion that we might look to execute the works following Australia Day, which is another major event down there.
Thank you.
The just one more question, just on the business case. When do you anticipate that will be coming to council or progress into the next stage, like the timing on the business case?
So through you, Mr. Chair, we haven't got a time frame on that as yet, Councillor Ball, but it will be running in conjunction with the plan of management and master plan. We're looking to short circuit the final business case, so we're hoping to have that to council before the end of this this financial year. So it's just a matter of us engaging the appropriate consultant right at this point in time and understanding what that time frame for delivery is going to be like. I would anticipate 3 to 6 months.
With it then to form part of the planning management for Cars Park, Todd Park.
Further questions, further comments? Committee members? None? All right, could I have a mover and a seconder for the recommendation, which is basically receiving those?
So, Mr.
Mayor, seconder?
Awesome.
Deputy Mayor? Bulk, I'll put all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
All those against say no. I declare it carried. And now we're going on to the online sports booking through Bookable software and call on Andrew Williams. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. Unfortunately, John Mears, Head of City Life, is unwell tonight, so I'm doing the presentation in his absence. So we're here to talk about the facility booking software. So the background on this, since amalgamation, council has used its existing platform of EventPro to process bookings for the 242 parks, sporting fields and recreational facilities that our community enjoy. Council understands that the need for a new system which has greater capacity to provide excellence in customer service, as well as be efficient, flexible and easy to use. Through a procurement process, Bookable was identified as the product which met council's expectations. So what is Bookable? Bookable is a purpose-built local government-based platform developed by a company called Atticus that provides a fully cloud-based solution allowing customers to make bookings online using any device. Currently, there are 33 councils across New South Wales utilising Bookable, including Georges River Council's neighbouring council, Bayside and Southern Shire. Bookable will provide customers with immediate access to accurate statuses of bookings and payments, and online payments. Online bookings will replace the current process of completing a manual form. How does it work? Once we implement it, so council will notify sporting organisations and clubs when seasonal bookings are scheduled to open. The next step would be organisations and clubs go online via council's website and request their seasonal bookings and update required documents such as insurances, etc. Council officers will then review the booking request to ensure there's no conflicts or scheduling issues. If there's no conflicts or issues, council officers will approve the booking for payment. Bookable will then automatically generate invoices, and once the invoices are paid, Bookable will then automatically generate receipts. Bookable automatically amends bookings based on any cancellation days, such as wet weather or maintenance, etc. And then Bookable will issue a credit towards the next booking. Benefits for sporting organisations, so more efficient process and greater customers experience for sporting organisation and clubs. Sporting organisations and clubs have clear and accurate status of bookings and payments at any time, and more council staff can answer customer inquiries in relation to the availability of an entire range of council's bookable facilities. The next steps. So council is excited to share a more efficient process and improve customer experience throughout the implementation of Bookable. A session will be arranged in late January 2024 with the Sports Advisory Committee members to walk you through the process before bookings open for the 2024 winter season. And council officers will always remain available to assist and answer any inquiries. Any questions?
Yes, open for discussion and questions from the committee. Mayor, yeah.
Great work on this. What happens in the circumstance in off-season, for instance? Is that information then made publicly available? So, for instance, if amateur clubs or amateur players want to use particular fields or for
yeah, that's correct.
Facilities,
yep.
That then is made publicly available online to show.
Yes, through council's website, as well as one-off-hirers or such as personal trainers or groups that want to utilise our parks, sporting fields or venues for hire. They'll be able to do that via council's website.
Okay, thank you.
Irene Hatzipetrus, you've actually got a question. Thank you.
Through the chair. Andrew, thank you for the presentation this evening. A couple of questions, if I may. Just in relation to payments being received, is that also done through Bookable? And if so, is there a fee applicable to the consumer?
I didn't get that last section of the question. Sorry, Irene.
Just in relation to payments, if the payments are received through Bookable as well, is there an additional fee through Bookable to the consumer?
That's something I'll have to clarify with the providers at this point and come back to you.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you, Irene.
Any other questions? There being no further questions or discussion, I seek a mover and a seconder for the recommendation, which is basically receive and note. Thank you, Andrew. Mayor Elmere,
second.
Deputy Mayor Borg, all those in favour say aye. All those against say no. Declare it carried. We're now going on to Sporting Legacy for Women and Girls, announcement of the Play Our Way federal government $200 million funding program. And I call on Margaret Lee. Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. It's my pleasure to present to the committee today an exciting announcement by the federal government, which is a Sporting Legacy for Women and Girls, the Play Our Way new federal government $200 million funding program. So at the last council meeting on the 25th of September through Councillor Nancy Liu, there was a notice of motion which council had resolved in three parts. That following the federal government's announcement on the 19th of August, one of Australia's biggest comprehensive investments in women's sports with funding and reforms to help more women play sport, that council officers apply for the federal government's new $20 million Play Our Way grants program, which is expected to be open in early 2024. Part B That council officers promote this grant funding opportunity through council's communication channels and networks, including the Sports Advisory Committee, so that there is increased awareness of how community organisations can support women and girls play sport. And part C, that the programs and or facilities supporting women and girls to play sport are clearly identified and allocated accordingly should council be successful in obtaining grant funding as part of the Play Our Way program. So my presentation here tonight and this report here is to address that part B, to share this information, even though it's still early days and it hasn't opened, but it's something brand new and very relevant. And we hope that once more information becomes available, we can disseminate to the committee members through this forum, as well to pass on to any other relevant sporting organisations. I'll give a bit of a summary of the Play Our Way program, and then I'll also highlight a few other grant funding opportunities that are currently open through other levels of government, and then I'll just finish up with a bit of a reminder about council's process before sporting organisations pursue grant funding opportunities, which is a bit of a summary from a presentation from last Sports Advisory Committee. As a bit of background, you know, on the back of the success of the Mighty Matildas, we had an exciting announcement by the federal government about one of the biggest comprehensive investments in women's sports, and I've provided a link in that report as well, so you can read it in a bit more detail. As we've seen in the past decade, there's been an extraordinary rise in women's participation in community sport. The 200 million Play Our Way program is about improving sporting facilities and equipment, specifically for women and girls. It applies to all sports, and it's about promoting equal access, building more suitable facilities, and supporting grassroots initiatives to get women and girls to engage, stay, and participate in sport throughout their lives. It's an opportunity for local governments as well as community organisations, the not-for-profit sector and sporting organisations to seek funding for localised solutions and improvements. And there'll be an expert panel of women with lived experience navigating community sport through to professional sports who will help design the Play Our Way program. And those people are Tal Cutt, Lauren Jackson, Liz Ellis and Madison De Rosario. One of the key challenges of the program and its application, should council be successful in obtaining this grant funding, is to make sure that that money is specifically prioritised for projects that do increase women's and girls' participation, and that's not absorbed into just, you know, broader sporting improvements. The next section is about highlighting some grant opportunities that the team have identified that are currently available for you to pursue. So we've got 2 from New South Wales Government, club grants category 3, infrastructure grants for sport and recreation. We've also got community building partnerships, community building partnerships 2023 round, and then also Australian Government Grant Connect, as well as the Community Grants Hub, which I think was promoted last time at this committee. And lastly, just a refresh about the steps to work with council staff through Jeremy Hasham, our Senior Programming and Bookings Officer. If you do see a grant, whether it's the Play Our Way grant or any other grants that I've just talked about, just to be in contact with council first so that we can be aware that this is something you're pursuing. We'll send you the required form about which facility you'd like to see upgraded. Complete the form, we'll review it, and then depending on that scope of that project, it may require further process from us in terms of incorporating it in future budget planning processes, and then we'll get back to you whether the consideration for that grant you know, is approved, supported, or you know, denied at this stage. And that's it from me.
Thank you, Margaret. Questions, comments from the committee members? No, not being any questions or comments. So ask for a mover and seconder, which is again, and thank you, Margaret.
I'm happy to move
which
that,
is again,
Mr. Chair.
Deputy Mayor Borg and and Mayor, all those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. Declare it carried. At this stage, we have no other matters on the agenda. So thank you. Sorry. Oh, okay, that's fair enough. I've just been informed that we won't have the next one until after Christmas. So enjoy your Christmas and enjoy your break, and thank you very much for attending this one. Good evening, everybody. And I declare the meeting closed at 7:06. Thank you. So thank you, because I was a little bit